Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 15-minute break where you get to learn about the people around you on your normal break. Today, on the very first episode of 15-minute break, we have the one and only AKA Scooey
Skiwi.
Alpha in her own and royalty in her own right, Ariel. Ariel, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, Matthew. I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Trying to make sure we finish this all before 10 o'clock. So we're just going to go through a whole bunch of questions and then do this answer. All right?
Okay.
Okay. How was going to and graduating from Harvard prepared you for the role as a performance strategist?
So I went to Howard University. It is a prestigious, historically black college, university rather, in Washington, D.C. So I think going there offered me an opportunity to really learn about the diversity that's kind of present within the world. And the way that really just prepared me, I think it's something that's kind of impossible to put into words, I guess you could say, because it's hard to think of life outside of what you know in your perspective, and to be able to have that opportunity to see different walks of life and different types of people. I think that's what really, really helped me and propelled me, especially because my major was communications and culture. So it provided a deeper understanding of the way that we all are connected and the way that we all really communicate with each other.
Being part of a large group is not foreign to you, correct?
Correct.
So how was, I think it's the UNCF or UNC?
UNCF, so the United Negro College Fund. It is, I actually interned there twice. So I interned there my senior year of high school in the Dallas location. And then I interned my senior year of college, turned around and did it again in their headquarters in Washington, D.C. And it was just such a rewarding experience because I was their social media intern. So I worked right under the social media manager and really kind of helped them to explore different avenues for their social media platforms. Being a nonprofit organization, it is really difficult for you to kind of get your name out there and to bring recognition for your cause. And so that was something that was really interesting. And that was kind of one of my first interactions with social media from a marketing standpoint rather from a user end standpoint. So that was really fun, especially to kind of give or have the opportunity to give back and to really get the name out there for an organization that's helped both myself and my sister go to school.
Okay. So what are some memories that you bring from there that you bring into work?
So some memories that I bring from UNCF, I think, would be with regard to social media specifically. It's about making sure that you're branding yourself when you're using social media platforms. So one thing that we would always look at is what's the reach of these tweets? One fun thing that I did was actually create live tweets. So whenever you see somebody live tweeting, it's already been made. But I made live tweets for the CEO, Dr. Michael Lomax, for his speeches. And so I think one thing with that is taking away key points, especially when you're using Twitter, because you have such limited characters. I know now they've upped the character limit to I think about 200 something characters, but that's a small amount of characters to really make an impact and really hit some key points. So I think that's something that I was able to really hone in on and try to figure out. I think that can kind of be really helpful, especially when we're dealing with the character limits and SEM materials as well.
So you are currently part of Team Royalty, where people wear crowns, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but the Wave of the Crown is something that you're familiar with, coming from the king of fashion, Louis Vuitton?
Yes.
So what was your role there, and how has being the role there helped with your clients today?
So working at Louis Vuitton, I worked at the Client Services Center, and what that is it's really helping to guide clients across the Louis Vuitton brand and connecting them with the pieces that they're going to love forever. So my initial role there was just to be a client advisor, and then I was actually offered the opportunity to be a correspondence specialist. And that was really fun because I got to respond to BBB letters and Attorney General letters and help people kind of figure out their different problems that they had. And I think what kind of carried over or transferred over from my skill set from Louis Vuitton is just knowing that clients are expecting an elevated level of service when dealing with Louis Vuitton. And I feel like that's something that should be really open and transparent regardless of whether you're at Chase Bank or here at Dex Media or at Louis Vuitton or Gucci or Prada or anywhere. People are expecting good service. So that's something that really kind of helped me. And then dealing with BBB letters and Attorney General letters, you have to be very, very direct. You have to be very detailed. And I think that's something that clients appreciate as well, as having as many details as they possibly can to help them really understand their product set that they have.
What are some principles that make Ariel today, that make you today as a performance strategist?
Some principles today. That's kind of a tough question. I would have to say like being a go-getter. That's something that's like required for this job, really, because I mean it changes so much that you have to be willing to go out and get the goals and really hit those metrics. I think it's patience and knowing that you don't know everything, and really being able to kind of learn and grow as you're walking through the steps, you know, as we're really kind of figuring it all out together. And then just being able to also kind of pull back and realize when things are getting stressful, having the ability to be like, I need to take a break so you don't explode. So that's something that I think is super important.
Okay, so with your background inside of social media, what are some common mistakes that business usually fall into when they're joining the social world?
Common mistakes, I would say, is not setting up their profiles all the way. I see that happen a lot, or they'll get started on a profile and then kind of stop halfway through. And when you're a user searching up a business or a prospective business or anything like that, and you see that, you're kind of like, oh, maybe they're not a legitimate business. So it kind of decreases that just a little bit, that trust that you're trying to get with the client. Some other mistakes, obviously grammar. When they're making posts, sometimes people will misspell things. I understand if you're misspelling it just kind of to make it fit around your theme, but like actually making misspelling errors, that's a big no-no.
Okay, to continue on with the whole business talk of social media, if you can make a 5-step guide for businesses on how to use social media, what would those steps be?
I think the first step would be to really understand which social media platforms are going to work best for your business, because not every social media platform is for every business. And then from there, setting up your profiles as detailed as possible. Make sure that you have the right staff and team members who are managing those profiles. For businesses, it's a little different than it is like just for your personal social media, but making sure that you have planned content. That way you always have something to post and you never forget to post things, especially because we live in a digital age now, so people are always looking to kind of be reminded. I think the next step from there would be to make it interactive and really fun. The more comments that you can get, especially with Instagram, the kind of higher up that your post is going to be on your consumers' feeds. So that's something that's really important, making sure that you're able to get that engagement, and then always coming up with new ideas and things that are going to translate into your storefront or into your actual business. So that way people are getting the same message across the board.
Okay. If you had to do like a starting line of like the best social media for, I don't know, any business, like basically a start off, a sampler piece, which social media would you choose and why?
Who does a good job of social media right now? I honestly would have to say Fashion Nova does a really good job. I know they're an online Instagram boutique, but they're like always on my feed. They have so many ambassadors for their brand that you're always seeing them. No matter if you're going just on your explore page, you're always going to see Fashion Nova. And then they also pair it really well with their email marketing. So you're always kind of thinking, oh, I need something to wear for this trip. And they even came out with the men's line and made it an entire thing. Whenever you think like, I need some clothes, I always immediately think, let me go check out Fashion Nova. So I think they're doing a really, really good job right now.
As a performance strategist, you worked on different types of accounts.
Yes.
Can you describe a difficult account, and how you handled it?
Ooh, okay. So my accounts are really, really interesting because, like you said, they range from clients at the client set, like from doctors to lawyers to pediatricians to dentists to carpet cleaners. I think the most interesting and kind of one of my more difficult accounts was a furniture company. And the reason that it was difficult was because they had search, and search isn't something that's going to work for every single type of business. Like we talked about with social media profiles and how not every single one is for every business. It's the same with search. And so I think with furniture, it's one of those things where people like to come in, they like to touch it, they like to see it, they might window shop online a lot or really kind of check out your website just to see what you have and see how it would look in their home and do different things. And so they weren't performing really well for that reason. I talked to a couple of senior strategists about it over in Glendale, and we just had to keep working at it, keep working at it, keep working at it. And so one thing that I did to kind of combat how little calls they would get, how the small amount of leads that they would get, was to really try to make it about brand recognition more than anything. So I actually provided them with a content calendar, said, hey, go ahead and fill this out. Let me know when you're having sales, and I'll actually create ads for the length of your sale, and we'll take them down, we'll put them back up, we'll take them down and put them back up, and that's going to really help with your brand recognition. That way when clients see or need new furniture, they'll be like more inclined to wait, like, oh, I think that company is going to have a sale on 4th of July because they've had sales every other holiday. So that is kind of what I did to combat that.
Along with this job, we have optimizations. Describe your process from like logging into the computer to like you close the case that's satisfied for optimizations.
So for optimizations are always really tricky. I think my line of thought when I go in to optimize, the first thing that I always do is just kind of check out overall how it's been doing for the last 30 days. You know how when you go into Wolfpack, you see just right there on your dashboard. So I typically check that out and try to figure out what exactly is not working the best. And if it's something where the budget pacing maybe was over pacing and now it's under pacing, sometimes I'll give that just a couple more days just to see if it'll balance itself out, just because sometimes it'll overspend and try to catch up, which is but from there, I typically, like I said, try to figure out, is it the lead pacing? Is it the budget pacing? Is it the ad copy that's in there? Like, is that not good ad copy? Where are they ranked? Is their impression share where it needs to be? And really just kind of go through those steps first, and really just kind of really go through all of the tabs that I can, just to kind of get as much background information as possible. Sometimes I'm able to figure it out right away, and if not, that's when I'll reach out to like the Glendale team and just kind of shoot them over an email like, hey, I have this account, I really don't know where to start with it, can you guys help? And then take into consideration their advice. Sometimes I'll ask some of my teammates, hey, what do you think about this account? Or I'll ask my supervisor, hey, well, what would you do in this case? Or sometimes have her pull reports from Google AdWords and just kind of overlook that information, and then try to solve it as best I can. And I try not to do too much into search accounts, just because sometimes you can end up messing something up if you try to do way too much. So I try to give it a couple days, see if it fixes. Most of the time it does. Thank you. It does. And then I'll actually go ahead and close out the case, let sales know, this is the resolution. And now that we have a lot of clients who we have YP search and strategy sessions, I'll kind of help the client understand what was going on, and this is kind of what we did to combat that issue.
Was at least one thing that you like about the new Thrive?
The new Thrive, I think it's really cool how they have the social media analytics on the social tab, really telling you what type of demographic you're hitting, what age range you're hitting, what time your users are online. That way, if you ever decide to kind of take the social media aspect into your own hands and want to create your own content, you'll be able to do so. Like, you'll know, like, should I make posts that are geared mostly towards women in their late 30s, or should I be making posts to men who are a lot younger? I think that's something that's going to really be helpful for a lot of our clients who like to do things themselves, and having that information and that background knowledge, it's really going to help propel them into the future of like kind of where digital is going.
What are some opportunities where Thrive can improve for you as a user?
For me as a user, I think faster notifications when it comes to social media posts. Kind of doing more so scanning for when my name is mentioned, like as a business. That way people, you have an opportunity to really respond and really engage with your clients and show them that you as a business care about what they're saying about you online, because we know people are so fast to go to social media to complain. And I think having the tools necessary to be able to combat that is something that's a definite requirement for our clients.
What are some words that you would give to new members joining the floor as a performance strategist?
I would say take your time in figuring out how everything works. Ask questions. Ask as many questions as you need to. There's no such thing as a dumb question because everybody is still learning and still figuring things out. So there's no need to kind of shy away from anything that you want to know the answer to. There's a lot of great resources on the floor and within the supervisor, so utilize them.
Speaking of questions, we're down to the last question. If you can ask one question to the next person who we will interview for a 15-minute break, what would that question be?
My question to the next person for the 15-minute break would be, how do you overcome the person who thinks that you are reaching out to them as a spam or telemarketer person? So what do you do to combat those types of clients and those types of calls where they immediately are like, not interested, click?
All right, we'll do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.